Hey, it's Lee for On Your Marks Wrestling, and I'm here with a Raw review for May 14th, 2018. We start the show with a kind of clip of some WWE personalities at a NBC Universal press junket thing. We see that Ronda Rousey is hanging out with Charlotte, practicing her woos, and then Nia Jax comes over and offers Rousey a shot at the championship at Money in the Bank. This is not the first time we're going to see this. In fact, we're going to see it multiple times because WWE can't let something be. They think we're stupid, and so they treat us that way. So they actually show this 3 times over the course of the show because it's such riveting TV. Reigns comes out to the ring. He calls out Jinder Mahal. Instead of Mahal, we get Kurt Angle who comes out. He says that Jinder won't be coming out because he's in a match later on that evening for a shot at being in the Money in the Bank match. He says that last week he made an emotional decision in not giving Jinder a shot, and that it was best for business if Jinder did get a shot at the Money in the Bank thing, and he basically suggests that Stephanie McMahon told him to do that. Reigns says he understands, and he says he's going to make things happen on his own. So he goes to the back searching for Jinder Mahal, and he finds him. And at the beginning, Mahal kind of pushes Sunil Singh into him and gets a few licks in, but eventually Reigns kind of starts winning. They go back to the outside, kind of back to the arena, and Reigns lands a Superman punch before some people can kind of stop him. I'm not even going to talk down the Reigns stuff. It's just getting to that point. The crowd, by the way, Reigns is kind of hated everywhere. He's hated a little bit more in Canada than he is in the States, but nowhere is he hated more than the UK. And as such, I really appreciate the UK crowd, so that's cool. And it's so weird because I really want to cheer for Reigns as a bad guy. I want to see him as a bad guy because he seems like a dick to a certain degree. And then I want him to become a good guy afterwards. I need the turn. I need the stupid turn. Don't make me think that the Authority doesn't like him and keep putting him in main event matches. That's not right. That's bad logic. Oh, okay. So then the person who should probably be the world champion right now, Seth Rollins, he's Intercontinental Champion, goes in a match versus Kevin Owens. There's a cool spot where Owens catches Rollins in a dive and throws him into a post. There's a Falcon Arrow on the apron by Rollins onto Owens, which looked pretty cool. There's a bunch of missed finishers by Rollins, and then Owens lands a super kick and a lariat for a 2. Rollins gets knees up at the last second on the top rope senton by Owens. It was cool. I liked the timing of it. It wasn't very you didn't know if he was going to get the knees up, though it felt like it. Rollins hits Owens with a Revolution knee and gets a near fall. Rollins then attempts a frog splash, but Owens gets the knees up this time. And he manages to roll him up, but he only gets a near fall. Rollins tries a superplex, but gets fisherman busted, as I even know the term, whatever, from the second rope by Owens. He manages to roll out so he doesn't get pinned. Eventually, they both go back into the ring, Rollins first, and he manages to stomp Owens on his way into the ring, and he gets the win that way. So Rollins retains. Then we see the video of Ronda and Charlotte wooing again, because it's been, about 10 minutes. And they're wooing, and we see Nia come up and challenge her, and Ronda, this time they've made it a little bit longer. Ronda says, and correctly, there's other women that probably deserve the shot ahead of me. And then Nia says, I don't care, I want to face you. And then Charlotte tells her, yeah, go for it. So Ronda accepts. So that's the second time we've seen this. Get ready for another one. Actually, I don't even think I wrote the last one. So Kurt Angle's backstage, and the Miz Taraj comes in. Angle was heavily featured in this, by the way. The former Miz Taraj comes in. They ask for a championship match. He says, you haven't even won a match in a really, really long time, if ever. And then they say they want to be called the A-Team, and Angle says, hey, there was an 80s TV show and a modern remake of the movie, so you can't be called that. So then they say, well, let's be the B-Team. And Bo says B is for best. And so that is their new name, the B Team. That's fine, whatever. So then we have a match between No Way Jose, Baron Corbin, and Bobby Roode for a spot in the Money in the Bank match. At the beginning, Graves tells Booker that to join the Congo line, he just needs to follow the guy that looks like a can of Sprite, which was a pretty great line. Jose is kept on the outside for most of the first half of this match. Never really even gets in. There's a really low crossbody by Jose at one point, but Corbin kind of saves it by sneaking under it and laying down. There's a really nice spinebuster by Roode onto Jose. It's always nice when Roode hits that move. Corbin clotheslines Roode on the outside, so he basically, I don't know if he jumped over the cameraman or around him, but it looked cool. Then he hits Jose with a chokeslam backbreaker. I love that move. That could easily be his finisher. Granted, I will say Corbin, a lot of people aren't interested in him, but I'd say that move could be a great finisher for anybody. He has End of Days, which is an amazing finisher, and he's got Deep Six, which looks even cooler if you hit it on the right person, so it's kind of cool. Corbin hits Deep Six on Roode, broken up by Jose, so there you go. And Corbin runs into the corner post and falls outside of the ring. This gives Roode a chance to land a glorious DDT on Jose and get the victory. Not a bad match, though. I'm going to say, it was better than I thought it would be, based on the parts that were in there. Angle is backstage with Owens. Owens demands a rematch, says he'll go to Stephanie like a child. Angle goes into the trainer's room to see if Jinder can go. Jinder's in a lot of pain, but he says... Angle says the match needs to happen, so Jinder's basically saying, yeah, he'll be able to go. Then we have the B Team versus Breezango. Breeze dominates early. Axel and Bo Dallas kind of get a little bit of offense in, giving you a little bit of hope. Then Fandango has a nice little run, including a really nice snap power slam like Goldust does, or Randy Orton. It looked really, really cool. Fandango goes for his finishing move, which is the leg drop, and the B Team land a nice kind of side suplex neck breaker thing. And they get the win, and then the crowd actually chants B Team for the excited winners. So that was kind of cool. And next we have a match between Sasha Banks with Natalya and Ember Moon versus Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan, so the Riott Squad. The Riott Squad are showing that they're a cohesive unit throughout by dominating the majority of the match. Finally, Natalya does get into the match, goes on a nice little run. There's a Meteora, so double knees to Logan on the outside of the ring. There's a nice... and then there's also a dive by Ember Moon onto Ruby Riott. Moon's dive is always good. Inside the ring, during this whole kind of thing, I will say Liv Morgan landed a really nice dropkick. The women have been landing a lot nicer dropkicks for a while now. For a while, dropkicks by women seem to be one-footed for some reason. And now they're landing proper, same dropkick as the men, and they're doing it fine. So I don't know why, for such a long time, the dropkicks look so bad. So yeah, Morgan lands a nice dropkick. She also does a step up at Seguri that looked cool. But eventually, after those dives and all that stuff, Natalya does manage to put the sharpshooter on Morgan and gets the win that way. Natalya better be thankful for Ronda Rousey because she's getting a nice little push as a result of that. Then we have a promo with McIntyre and Ziggler. McIntyre once more repeats the whole locker room is soft. Ziggler says people are just using a bunch of gimmicks and whatnot. It is what it is. That's fine. Then we have the Revival versus Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. Revival get a jobber entrance. I'm just so sad about this. They deserve so much more. So early on, Dash Wilder does a nip up, and Hardy gets the crowd to give him a standing ovation. It's kind of fun. There's the B Team is scouting this match because that's how much of a contender they are now. At one point, the Revival starts attacking Hardy's knee, and they do a lot of damage to his knee. So that's kind of the bone that they were thrown was, hey, you guys are good at attacking body parts. We'll let you attack one. Eventually, Wyatt gets tagged in though. He lands a Uranagi, and then there's a kiss of deletion for the win, which is basically the double Sister Abigail type thing. Backstage, Bayley is wished good luck by Sasha Banks because storyline progression is a bad thing and you don't want to do that. So we're still in limbo on that one. Then Sami Zayn comes out. Crowd seems to love him. Sami says that Prince Harry looks a lot like him, and he's actually a big fan of his. He's saying that the Prince is a big fan of his. Says that Lashley tried to make an impact. I don't know if he meant to say impact, but I thought it was interesting, at his expense. Says that he got vertigo from Lashley's vertical suplex. He pulls out a doctor's note to explain what vertigo is, and he pulls out his old man glasses. It looks cool. He blames the vertigo for all his losses since Lashley's debut. He says that Lashley wants to be him, and points to the matching hat that he wore during his interview about his family. And he also says that he used Facebook and found Lashley's family and spoke to his sisters so that they could actually tell the truth about Bobby Lashley instead of kind of this manufactured stuff during that interview. And we learned that the sisters will be on Raw next week. I thought Zayn did great on this thing. It wasn't the most exciting thing on the show, but I liked Zayn talking in general. So then we have a match between Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Bayley. Mickie and Alexa tag up or double team Bayley early on, which is to be expected. Bayley does hit a double crossbody. At one point, Alexa Bliss lands a Canadian Destroyer, which is cool. Mickie breaks it up with a kick to Bliss's face. Bliss accidentally hits James, which distracts her for a while. Bayley hits belly to Bayley or Bayley to belly. I always forget what it's called. On Bliss, but James yanks her out of the yanks Bayley out of the ring on at 3. Then she jumps into the ring and tries to pin Bliss, but Bayley yanks her out of the ring. They have a little scuffle. Bayley gets back into the ring and just eats the biggest forearm from Bliss possible, and then Bliss lands her DDT and she gets the win. So she's in the Money in the Bank match. Jinder is really struggling with his ribs, trying to make his way from the trainer's room, and he gets speared through a temporary wall by Roman Reigns. This wall was clearly put in a hallway that is, like, the hallway has a bunch of signage. Couldn't you take off the signs to make us at least think it was like a little, I don't know. It wasn't as bad as the twist ties thing, or zip ties thing, but it's still pretty bad. Angle, excuse me, says that the match will still go on, and he needs to find a replacement. Then we get a match between Finn Balor and Braun Strowman versus Ziggler and McIntyre. There's a cool little kind of face-off at the beginning of Strowman and McIntyre. Eventually they end up going into the ring together, and McIntyre acts as if he really wants to fight Strowman, but then he pops out of the ring. I'm tired of that move. I don't know why bad guys always do that move. I get that some of them should be cowards, but I don't know why McIntyre should be that guy. Like, he should be the exact opposite of that. Strowman uses Balor as a weapon at one point. Balor not knowing that he would be used as a weapon. It was kind of a funny little spot. The story of the match is Balor being kind of unable to tag out and get Strowman in throughout. You can see at one point that... Strowman does eventually get into the ring. Runs wild for a couple seconds, but not very long before he runs into a ring post really quickly and kind of falls out of the ring. Balor's right pec is completely messed up. I don't know what he did, but it's like red, on the verge of bleeding. It looks worse than Daniel Bryan looked at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Balor hits a corner dropkick on Ziggler. He goes for the coup de grace, but McIntyre grabs his leg. Strowman runs around and runs over McIntyre, who flies into the Greatest Royal Rumble trophy and knocks it over. Thank God, because that trophy was not the prettiest thing. Ziggler knocks Balor off the ropes, and he gets a pin that way. So Angle is on the phone, and you later on learn that it's with Stephanie McMahon. Tells her that he sent Reigns home, so that he won't be an issue. Says that he's found the perfect replacement for Jinder, but then he's apparently told that he needs to give Kevin Owens the shot. So we see that Stephanie McMahon's still listening to Owens and giving him whatever he wants, just to spite Angle. Elias is in the ring. He barely gets started before KO's music hits, so then we have the match KO versus Elias versus Bobby Lashley. Lashley dominates early. Owens and Elias team up to gain the advantage. Owens and Elias come to blows at one point, though. The ring gets cleared, and Elias calls for JoJo to come over. He sits on the apron, and he asks her to bring his guitar and a mic. He starts singing, but Owens interrupts almost right away. Elias hits a really nice top rope elbow for a near fall. Then Elias and KO get suplexed by Bobby Lashley after trying to suplex him. Elias power bombs Kevin Owens for the near fall. Lashley lands a Dominator on Elias, which is essentially his finishing move. It looks a lot like a big ending. Sami Zayn runs into the ring and drags out Lashley at one point after his Dominator, and he hits a hell of a kick on Lashley on the outside. This gives Owens a chance to frog splash Elias, and he gets the win that way. And that's the end of the show. I thought that in the ring, this was a very strong show. I didn't think there was any terrible match on the card. I thought there was some, good to very good matches. I'd say there was maybe one closer to great match, which was Owens and Rollins, though I wouldn't go that far. But yeah, everything was solid in the ring. There was a little bit of storyline moving forward. Thank God. It's been a long time since that's happened on WWE. I'm going to say this episode of Raw was pretty darn okay. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7.5 out of 10. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll have more reviews tomorrow.